be with us in all we do, and that you would provide safety for each driver and their team. In Christ's name, amen.
Here to honor America, please welcome the Martinsville High School Marching Band as they perform our national anthem.
We're getting ready. The drivers heading to the trucks. We're going to fire those engines when we come back. The excitement about to begin at Martinsville. "32 trucks getting ready to line up and go for 250 laps at the paperclip. Some racetracks need no introduction. This is Martinsville. The name says it all.
32 truck, 250 laps. Go, go, go.
A beautiful Saturday afternoon in Martinsville, Virginia. Not a cloud in the sky, and we're getting ready to go racing in the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series. 250 laps here at the Paperclip. Been racing here all 25 years of the Truck Series existence. Coming here twice a year. Last year winners were John Hunter Nemechek, who won this race in the spring, and then Johnny Sauter won here in the fall. Bubba Wallace has won here a couple of times. In fact, won here his rookie season. One of only 2 rookies to ever win at Martinsville in the truck.
I'd take those results at Martinsville, wouldn't you, Phil?
Absolutely. Did you help him put his grandfather clock in his apartment?
I did. We strapped it on a pickup truck. I took it over to his apartment at Burkdale. But the fun part about it was the energy and what that grandfather clock does to your team, man. That's what it's all about today. And we saw pushing and shoving in the preview. We're going to see more of it when they throw the green flag.
It is an iconic trophy that everyone wants, including the driver of that truck, Grant Enfinger. No one has scored more points this season than Enfinger, but he's got some work cut out for him today, starting all the way back there in the 19th spot.
Jeff Hensley said that his son asked him if maybe somebody got in his way during qualifying. He said, I wish I could say that, but no, I really don't know why we're starting that far back.
And Jeff Hensley's from Martinsville, so it would be extra special if the crew chief and driver could get a win here today. Let's get ready and fire those engines.
Race fans entering Martinsville Speedway on his MyTruckWarranty.com, powered by TrüNorth Dually Trike, built by Paul Jr. Designs, is going to be today's Grand Marshal from the Discovery Channel hit show American Chopper, airing Tuesday, March 26, 8 p.m. Would you please welcome Paul Jr.
Drivers, start your engines!
We're ready to roll. The first short track of the season. About to get it done at Martinsville.
Creed. Yeah. What about Todd?
NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series from Martinsville. Trucks just starting to roll off pit road. 32 will line up in rows of 16. And we'll go racing for 250 laps. Take a look at that Gander Outdoors track description.
Yeah, it looks fairly simple, but after racing here for 30 years, I am here to tell you it is not. The turns are tight and they're only banked a couple of 12 degrees, and the straightaways, they're really tough as well. The place is just a monster to get your arms around. You got to use your foot really gently on the gas and your other one on the brake the same way.
And that's the flattest 12 degrees I've ever seen.
It's not 12 degrees. That's why I couldn't read it, Phil.
How about our race analysis? You see, this race is 250 laps, 131 miles, 3 stages. Lap 70, again at lap 140, and then the final stage is 110 laps. Our pit window somewhere around 130 or 40 laps. That's why strategy can come into play, because they can go so much farther than the stage lengths.
John Hunter Nemechek won this race last spring. Austin Dillon is in that 8 truck in the race this afternoon.
Let's ride along with a couple guys, Vince. We'll start out with Brett Moffitt. He's our reigning champion. That's the Work Chevrolet. He'll be starting from the 5th spot. He had a third and a second here last year, Michael. Just needs to do a little bit better.
Look up there ahead of him, Phil. That's me, Todd Gilliland, and the number 4 Mobile Oil Toyota for Kyle Busch Motorsports. He's also going to have the visor cam. This is the action shot. This is where we're going to see stuff go down.
I didn't want to talk a lot about the bumper cam, but I'm not sure how long we're going to have that.
You know, I talked about Ben Rhodes starting back outside the top 15, how good he was here a year ago. I think he's going to win this race today. Let's see if we can get a word with him. Hey, Ben, it's Michael and the boys in the Fox booth. Do you copy? Ben Rhodes, it's Michael Waltrip and the boys in the Fox booth. Are you with us?
Hey, Michael, I think you might be on channel 2 right there.
All right, appreciate that. Let's go over to channel 2. Ben Rhodes, Michael Waltrip and the boys Fox. Do you copy?
I've got you, Michael.
Well, you got to make me look good today, brother. I know how good you were here a year ago, and I think you can win this race. What's it going to take to get through the traffic and get up front?
Well, it's going to have to take a good driving truck. I feel like we got a good F-150. We made quite a bit of changes overnight. Track changed a little bit on us that I don't think we were anticipating for. So I think it'll be good in race pace, but I've got some work cut out for me here. We just got to keep the fenders fresh and make sure we stay out of trouble back here in the Hornet's Nest.
It is that, and you have a good day.
Very much.
Final thoughts from pit road, beginning with Alan.
Vince, the 88 team brought a new setup here that was so bad they had to punt on final practice just to change everything back. The good news, they went out in qualifying with a little experience out there, and he's qualifying 6th. Matt Crafton, and he's a 2-time winner. Confident he can do it again, Jamie.
Well, Alan, in the 32 starters, there are 6 rookies who have never raced here at Martinsville, and for the first time in a long time, NASCAR gave them an additional practice session and set of tires to get up to speed. Now, the driver who perhaps did it better than the rest was Raphael Lessard, that 17-year-old French-Canadian, his first start all the way up in 7th with his team. Hermie?
Well, Jamie, if you get through all the drama on the racetrack, you still got to navigate pit road as a driver, small pit boxes. A pit road that's concrete with joints that make it difficult to maintain the proper speed. But if you hit your box and don't lose anything getting to your box, then your team has to do the job as well. This is Ben Rhodes. He's in the 99 this year. Last year, he was in the 41, qualified on the pole, won the first 2 stages, but a long pit stop spoiled an opportunity for a good finish. You got to be perfect on and off the racetrack today.
Yeah, you can ill afford any mistakes, speeding penalties, any kind of miscue on pit road will put you back in the pack. It is so difficult to get through the field here in traffic.
I still cannot figure out how Dennis Setzer won this race one time from 33rd.
I just don't know how they get every start right, because you can't even see what's going on ahead of you. And when they get down to turn 1, there's no telling what lies ahead, but somehow they generally make it.
Stuart Friesen won the pole earlier today in qualifying. He will start on the inside, and the all-time wins leader, Kyle Busch, on the outside. And we are racing at Martinsville.
Looked like Kyle was maybe just dead alongside or possibly ahead of Friesen at the start and finish line. And if that's the case, that's a penalty.
He's not going to take any time to jump to the inside, though, right in front of the 2 of Sheldon Creed.
Single file at the front and then 2 wide as they go a little deeper in the pack.
There's that bumper cam I was afraid to talk about, Vince.
We'll see how long that lasts. It's Matt Crafton in the 88 just ahead of him. Crafton, a 2-time winner here.
How about the True North 45 right there? Ross Chastain trying to hang with Matt Crafton. Most of the guys, Michael, say the outside will work for 2 or 3 laps, and then you better find some room on the inside.
But there was a lot of talk, Phil, about the track rubbering up after Monster Energy Cup practice today. That means the rubber is laying down on the road. It makes it slipperier. So maybe there's some fresh traction up there on the high side, and that's what Chastain and that 45 truck is taking advantage of.
Chastain, the only driver to be top 10 in all 3 races so far this season. He's running all 3 series. In fact, throughout most of this season, he has run every race in the 3 top series in NASCAR so far this season. And right now, he's got a battle on his hands with Matt Crafton.
He's doing a great job hanging in there. Remember, they have an alliance with GMS Fabrication. They do their bodies and their chassis, so they have a lot of the information that 52 right there of Stuart Friesen has, but he's got a battle on his hands with the 51 of Kyle Busch.
For the lead, Kyle Busch on the inside and the pole winner Friesen on the outside.
Nice run off there by Friesen. He's able to remain beside.
2 trucks right on his bumper.
Last year's ARCA champ in that 2 truck, Sheldon Creed.
And that thing was a rocket yesterday in practice, Vince. The 2 was a talk of the garage area. You could see early on why. A lot of good speed for Sheldon.
Remember, one of the teammates with Stuart Friesen in the 52, also the 24 Brett Moffitt, all 3 coming out of GMS.
Maybe a little bump in there between the 52 and the 51, Friesen and Busch. And while Creed runs 3rd, we hear from Allen.
And Sheldon Creed trying to be aggressive right now, trying to push it 3 wide there underneath Kyle Busch, and his spotter came over the radio, said, no, 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 let the 51 do the work, you just follow him.
Smart advice. Friesen wins that battle.
Oh, he won it temporarily, Vince, but too much speed into turn 1. Slides up and opens the door again for the 51 truck of Kyle Busch.
And you can't open the door for Kyle too many more times.
He likes to lead these races.
I like Stuart Friesen. He said, you might like to lead it, but so do I. And I've got the position right now, and I'm going to fight for it.
I'm not sure there's anybody in this field any hungrier to get a win than Stuart Friesen.
Well, and Kyle Busch has won more than any driver ever in the Truck Series, and Friesen's still looking for his first ever win.
You know, it's interesting, just the decision that Friesen has to make. Do I just let Kyle get that spot and race him later? I think not. I don't think he's going to let him get anything. That's just good, hard racing on the short track. Love our camera angles, too. You can really see how tight things are.
Settles out now with Kyle in front, and there's one of the drivers out of his stable, Todd Gilliland, in that 4 truck with Johnny Sauter in the 13 getting inside.
I thought I caught a glimpse of Johnny Sauter making the move to the inside. You see a little bit of body damage already on the side of that 13 truck with Johnny Sauter, but he grabs that spot. May bring Ross Chastain with him in the 45.
Here comes the heat. The favorite down in the garage area when you took Kyle Busch out of the discussion was definitely the 13 truck of Johnny Sauter. Great move from his 8th starting position up inside the top 5 now. He rides 4.
It's the battle for 5th. Gilliland ends up prevailing, sliding into that spot. Chastain back in 6th. For Todd Gilliland, it's been a bit of a up and down season. He's got a couple of top 10s, but undeniably a little frustrated that they haven't run better and contended for the wins, and even the boss Kyle Busch spoke of it a couple of weeks back.
Check that view out. Shows you what it's like to wrestle that curve. You got that 7,000-pound truck down in the corner, 700 horsepower, and you're just walking on the edge of that curb. If you clip it with your left side tires, it'll spin you around. So these drivers have a lot of technique they have to use to be good here at Martinsville.
And you're tiptoeing at 60 miles an hour in the center of that corner.
Kyle Busch and Stuart Friesen been battling up front, but there are battles everywhere. Coming back to Martinsville. early laps here at Martinsville. The Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Kyle Busch, who's won the last 2 races, is out front after a spirited battle at the beginning with Stuart Friesen. Right now, Friesen runs second. Hermie?
He's lost a little ground, as you can see, to the leader, Kyle Busch. Getting ready for a challenge from Johnny Sauter coming up from the 3rd position. His truck is loose in turns 1 and 2. That's the issue right now. I spoke to the crew chief, Trip Bruce, about his strategy for today, and he said, you know, I've heard a lot of different stories about what teams may do. He said, but for me, with Stewart, I need to come down at the end of each session, put tires on our truck and work on it, because when we get in trouble, normally it's when I try to make Stewart do more than the truck is able to do. Sometimes he gets himself trying too hard, and that causes some of the mistakes they've made.
Well, and he's going to have to play some defense here shortly as Johnny Sauter hounds him. And then a good battle here as you look at Todd Gilliland out the front windshield with Sheldon Creed up ahead.
There's a little bit of offense going on in this battle, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And, you know, I was wondering about Creed's long run speed. I knew he was fast yesterday on a short run, and you can see he's starting to back some trucks up behind him. When you have that, you just have to know that the aggression is going to get greater and greater as laps wind by.
If there's a gap in front of you, you have to know that there could be a bumper coming your way.
Austin Dillon in the 8 truck getting inside the rookie there, Raphael Lessard, the 17-year-old from Canada, and the 46 making his Truck Series debut here today.
And Lessard dropping a few positions early in this race. He says he's tight going into the corner, but loose coming off the corner, and they're telling him to use his fans to improve the handling. Mikey, Phil, how does that work? How can fans improve the handling?
Well, they can cool a tire, a specific tire. If you're loose in, you might want to cool that right rear tire down. If you're tight, you might want to cool the right front tire down. So they have options inside that truck to make some minor adjustments. But I think mainly this, for me, Alan, is a chance for Lessard just to fill his truck out, understand how others are racing. He's seeing all this for the first time, Phil.
Yeah, and get behind and follow that 8 of Austin Dillon and see maybe he's not driving in the corner hard enough. He's driving in the corner too hard. This is good to... They cannot simulate a 30 or 40 lap run in practice with fresher tires. So right now, this is a good learning opportunity for Raphael.
And he's behind Dillon, as you mentioned, the former Truck Series champion. Austin Dillon won the Truck Series title back in 2011. There's another former champion in that neon yellow 88. That's Matt Crafton. Crafton currently in 7th. And there's Johnny Sauter getting past Stuart Friesen for 2nd.
He made that pass, Vince, and still was as fast as Kyle Busch, our leader. So a lot of speed for the 13. Everybody in the garage area is talking about that 13 truck and his speed, Jamie. It's coming to evidence here.
It sure is. You know, after practice yesterday, Johnny was pretty hard on himself, saying he didn't know how he was going to qualify. Well, he's gone from 8th to 2nd, just 30 laps into the race. His team telling him just stay patient. We're in no hurry out there. They're talking him around here, and he is just so quiet and calm back to the team. It's exactly what Joe Scheer Jr., his crew chief, wants.
Corbin Forrester there maybe made Johnny's heart skip a beat.
Bit of a moving chicane there for Johnny Sauter. He wasn't sure which lane Forrester was going to take. And I'm not sure Corbin was either at that point.
Johnny had to take a hard left when he got down to the corner there. You know, it's interesting. We talk about Johnny Sauter starting in the 8th spot. Matt Crafton, a 2-time series champion, started 6th. And they both were tickled to death to be able to start that close to the front because they knew they had good race trucks, especially in Johnny's case. He just wasn't sure how he was going to qualify. The fact he made the top 10, he felt great.
And you can see that line of trucks there, Vince, that we talked about. They're all behind Sheldon Creed, and that means that he's going to pick up more and more heat as you see into the back. There's Gillen all over him right now.
Travis Quapple in the 1 truck about to be put a lap down by those that are coming up behind him, and there is Creed making that pass with Todd Gilliland right behind.
We're almost halfway through this first stage, so I don't look for these guys to have that much patience much longer because remember, points are available here at lap number 70 for these guys.
You can see the lap truck to the high side. That's what you want if you're one of your leaders. You want those trucks to slide high out of your way. That's what Quapple's doing in the 1. Everybody doesn't get that memo, though.
These races run in 3 stages. As Phil mentioned, you do get points. So the top 10 receive points at the end of each stage, and those points, they add up over the course of a 23-race season and can make the difference between maybe making the playoffs or maybe even winning a championship.
Good move by David Gilliland in the 54 truck on the outside of Derek Kraus. That's the Ineos Toyota for Bill McAnally.
Gets Gilliland up inside the top 15. Matt Snyder on the outside as well. Had a great run here last fall. Very competitive, top 5 finish.
A couple of good young drivers right there. Snyder in the 27, Kraus in the 19.
There comes Enfinger. Remember, we talked about Grant Enfinger at the top of the show. He's trying to make his way towards the front.
Todd Gilliland continuing to work, and there is Sheldon Creed. Talk about running out of patience. Creed gathers it up. Wow. That's what you call being moved out of the way.
Yeah, and that's we predicted that would happen. We saw trucks stacked up behind Creed, and finally Gilliland said, "Gonna have to give you a push, buddy."
Yeah, he got a little bit of loose there off of turn number 4. That allowed his teammate Brett Moffitt, the 24 truck, to get around.
Gilliland followed Creed lap after lap when he obviously had a faster truck, and then finally just said, "I can't keep doing it."
I think Todd was on the brakes hard. You heard it get really quiet. I think he was sliding the rear tires when he got down into him.
Look at this 3 wide. Is that going to work?
Wow,
no.
And Creed again. This time it's Austin Hill getting into the left rear of Sheldon Creed.
Settle down, nice and easy. All clear, one back. You got to clean your tires off here.
When it starts, Vince, so when one guy moves them out of the way, the guys behind are not going to have near as much patience as Todd Gilliland did for as long as he did.
And right now they're just trying to preach more patience to Sheldon Creed in that 2 truck. He said about Todd Gilliland, "I will remember that," but they're trying to get his head about him right now and just maintain the position he does have super tight on the track right now, according to Sheldon Creed.
Harrison Burton now making the move to get past Creed, pulling up side by side.
You know what's crazy about Martinsville, Phil? There's no place to hide. As soon as some guy bumps you out of the way, you think, all right, I'm just going to settle in here and roll some. That's not going to be the case. There's going to be more heat on you as soon as you make that big slide.
That's for 11th. Harrison Burton getting that position. No challenge at the front. Kyle Busch continues to lead the way.
Probably one stop, so we need you to save fuel all day long so we can get a good reading on that. And we probably do a one-stop race here, and for some reason, the last third of the race, we don't feel like it's worth it, we'll come down and put 4 on. So we can take chances today, you know? Yeah, 10-4, I got you.
20 to go in stage one. Kyle Busch continues to lead. Been a bit eventful out the front windshield for Kyle. Check this out just a moment ago.
That's not good. That's a big, strong move into the corner by the 11 of Spencer Davis, and Kyle had to keep his eye on all that. These guys are racing to stay on the lead lap, Phil, and there's a long string of trucks just ahead of our leader, Kyle Busch, and they will be very aggressive, pushing each other out of the way. I'll be surprised if we don't get a caution before this stage ends.
Back to second place, Johnny Sauter. Good battle here throughout most of the race between the 24 and the 88. Brett Moffitt has been heating up that back bumper of Matt Crafton, seems like all day long.
From the drop of the green flag, I think, Vince, and you can see the damage to that left rear quarter panel that Menards Ford. They've made a little contact 3 or 4 times. I'm surprised our bumper cam is still around.
Our first race winner of the season, Austin Hill, took victory at Daytona. Here's what he had to say and his team about some strategy play.
Probably one stop, so we need you to save fuel all day long so we can get a good reading on that. And we probably do a one-stop race here, and for some reason, the last third of the race, we don't feel like it's worth it, we'll come down and put 4 on. So we can take chances today, you know. Yeah, 10-4, I got you.
Yeah, the reason they can take chances is they're already in the playoffs by winning Daytona, but that's one of the differing strategies we talked about at the top of the show. What I think they will do is they'll forego stopping at lap 70 at the end of the first stage and hope to get a caution somewhere prior to the end of the second stage. Stop around 125 would be ideal for them and just make it on one stop. But as Scott said, they always have the option of coming and putting tires on later if it doesn't work.
You know what I love, Vince? You got to have a plan so you know what you're varying from. And Zipadelli, the crew chief, said if it doesn't work, we'll come get tires.
We'll punt.
Oh, how about the 13, Jamie?
Well, some dramatic moments here. Just the last couple of laps. Johnny Sauter telling his team, I am down on power. He said it's the alternator. He said he's lost a cylinder. The team is ready for him to come on to pit lane. They're hoping that just a wire might have come loose and it'd be a quick fix, but things are not good right now in that 13 Ford.
Well, that's got to be disappointing for that group because Johnny Sauter has been so fast.
Yeah, and you can see it on the straightaway too, Vince, losing ground all the way down. So got to have a plan here to fix this truck. Look at Kyle.
That's Bubba Wallace there in front of him in the 22. Bubba used to drive for Kyle Busch Motorsports.
He won 2 races here at this racetrack driving for KBM.
I don't think you're going to be able to hold Kyle Busch off for 13 laps, but that's a valiant effort right there. He's not giving him anything, making him go to the outside. Bubba knows he gets the right adjustment. He climbed back into this thing. And there's that line of trucks I was talking about as the leader approaches. They're going to get more and more aggressive with each other.
Kyle does make it to the inside of Bubba and will make this pass.
Good to see Bubba Wallace back in the Truck Series. Hope to see him in here a little more often, but he was certainly enjoying the opportunity to come down and run the truck here today in Martinsville.
Look who's next on Kyle's list, Vince. That's Grant Enfinger. Having a little bit of cold or sinus issues this weekend is Grant, and said he's fine. He's going to make the race easily, but certainly not performing like he hoped to.
Curb Records is on board Grant Enfinger's truck, their first time as a primary this year. Would you believe Curb Records has had 433 #1 hits over the years since Mike Curb started that company? 433.
10 laps remaining in stage 1. Sheldon Creed in the 2, and that's the 54 of David Gilliland back in the 14th and 15th positions.
I think Gilliland went to the outside to start this pass, Phil. I noticed Creed was camped out on the bottom, and Gilliland was able to pull up to the top.
Kyle Busch coming up from behind, just got that Tyler Ankrum machine between them, so they would certainly like to keep Kyle behind them and not get lapped.
See, Tyler Ankrum moved over and gave Kyle the bottom of the racetrack.
Caution. Possible all
and that's the 12 of Gus Dean. Stopped over in turn 2.
That'd be a big break for Tyler Ankrum, Sheldon Creed, others there. David Gilliland right in that area because of the caution flag. They'll be able to catch back up, make it to the end of the stage. And now, Phil, you predicted it. We could see some strategy right now.
It's perfect timing for this. Ooh, looks like a big time blow up possibly for the 12 of Gus Dean. He does a nice job getting that truck up out of the way.
See the fluid coming out of the back of it there.
These NT1 engines have been fairly bulletproof.
Another guy we got to think about that's going to take advantage of this caution is Johnny Sauter. They can come to pit road and they can analyze what the issue is, and if they don't have time to fix it when the stage ends, come back and effect repairs.
Gus Dean out of the truck safely, one of the 3 drivers for Young's Motorsports, along with Tyler Dipple. He's had a good start to his season.
Yeah,
all 3 of those drivers, Spencer Boyd as well.
Great finish at Daytona for Spencer Boyd.
All 3 have had a good start to the campaign for Tyler Young's group.
Pit road is still closed right now, but we might get an opportunity to see that strategy we were talking about. And this is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, and I think we will see that. I think NASCAR will do their best to get that pit road open. They know they want those crew chiefs down on pit road to have a chance to open up that playbook. Make that track position that Kyle Busch has possibly go away at the end of the stage by using some strategy here.
You know, we were talking about Johnny Sauter and possible engine issues. Remember the 98 of Grant Enfinger had a plug wire go bad. They were able to fix that and really salvage a great finish a couple of races ago. So that's a possibility that maybe that's what it is. Same again within the same team, but again all these teams, or the majority of these teams, run that same NT1 engine.
It's been a struggle for Enfinger today. Started back in that 19th position after a difficult and disappointing qualifying effort. Currently rides 18th. Take a break, come back. Hopefully some pit stops when we return to Martinsville.
A lot of these guys, I think, only want to do 1 pit stop, and some aren't going to. But after we murdered them that bad right there, I think they're gonna come work on there. So we better do the same.
Open it.
Back here at Martinsville under caution after Gus Dean put some fluid down on the track. Kyle Busch continues to lead. And you'd think, hey, you're the leader. You're dictating everybody's strategy,
right?
Right? Isn't it? Or maybe not. Let's listen.
A lot of these guys, I think, only want to do 1 pit stop, and some aren't going to. But after we murdered them that bad right there, I think they're gonna come work on there. So we better do the same.
It's hard to believe that the guy that's dominating this race, Rudy Fugle, there's his crew chief, but they're beating him so bad that they think they're going to change everyone else's strategy. So now they're going to have to adapt their strategy to stay on par with them.
And like you talked about, Phil, in the opening, you're going to have to mix it up. If you got to figure out a way, find an opportunity to do something besides exactly what Kyle Busch does. If he comes to pit road, you got to stay out, or vice versa. That's what these teams are talking about. But unfortunately, this stage isn't going to go back green because we've run out of laps and just got the mess over in turn 2 cleaned up.
But how about the opportunity for people like Derek Kraus and Grant Enfinger, Bubba Wallace, if those guys do come to pit road like Kyle because they think everybody else is, they stay out, take the wave around, get back on this lead lap.
16th on back, at least a lap down.
Yeah, Tyler Ankrum will be the first car 1 lap down, so he will get the free pass. But it's Derek Kraus, Grant Enfinger, Bubba Wallace, Spencer Davis right behind them 1 lap down.
Well, we're getting ready to find out who's got what up their sleeve as they come down the back straightaway here in another couple laps and come to pit road.
See, I think Johnny Sauter right now, he's going to try to maximize his points. He along with Joe Shear. They know right now they're running third, so they will get 8 stage points, and then they will probably have to spend some time maybe trying to diagnose and fix that engine problem.
Are you surprised they didn't open pit lane while the cleanup was continuing instead of waiting to get to the end of the stage?
Yes, very surprised. I really thought they would open it up, and that would open us up to the differing strategies.
Well, they didn't, and that means Kyle Busch takes the green and white checkers along with the yellow. Kyle Busch, the winner of stage 1 at Martinsville.
Still not open. Still not open. When we do it here. Second all green. Not open. Second all green.
That was really good.
Stage 1 complete. Kyle Busch, the winner of stage 1. Stuart Friesen, Johnny Sauter, Todd Gilliland, Matt Crafton, Brett Moffitt, Austin Hill, Rafael Lessard, all collecting stage points. And the caution out because of the issue involving Gus Dean. Pit lane about to be open, and it's about to get real busy as everybody comes down for adjustments for the first time today.
Remember, new rule, all 4 tires have to be below that orange box right there.
Mini staying out. Kyle Busch leading the way, followed by Friesen and Sauter. Todd Gilliland coming as well. Let's go downstairs to Allen.
And Todd Gilliland and crew didn't really know what to expect. They did not make a long run in that final practice, but they were getting better as that run went along. He says he's too tight, though, entering the corner, too loose off the corner. Expect 4 tires and a handling adjustment for Todd Gilliland, Jamie.
Well, down here with Johnny Sauter, the only guys over the wall right now are the Ilmor engine representatives. They're taking a good look at it, hoping they can get it fixed. If they can get it fixed, he's going to come back in. Then they'll take tires in just a few more laps. But this is their biggest problem, Hermie.
Kyle Busch has such an advantage coming onto pit road. He's already down and away, got his service completed, so he'll be the first truck off pit road. The truck starts a little on the free side, but by the end of the run, gets a little bit tight. He needs more drivability with the nose of that 51. So bad news for the competition, Vince. Dominated the first stage, and his truck is still not perfect.
Yeah, those lead lap trucks now off pit road, and those that were a lap down, they are making their way into the pit boxes right now. Trouble for the 4 of Todd Gilliland during his stop.
Thought I saw the right rear tire hanger have trouble getting the tire in there, and you could see the jack wasn't quite up high enough. That caused an issue back there.
Be a lot of track position right there lost for him. Let's see if we can chat with our second place finisher, Stuart Friesen, in this stage. Hey, Stuart Friesen, Phil Parsons and the boys up on the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, I got you, Phil.
Stuart, that was a great battle you had early on with Kyle Busch. You were able to watch that 51 truck. Where does your truck need to be better to run with that 51?
Oh, probably all over the racetrack, but all the way around. We found a little bit of a loose in the center there, so tripping the boys hopefully got me tightened up a little bit, gripped up. We'll go back at him again here.
All right, buddy, good job. Keep it rolling.
Thanks, boys.
Right there behind Friesen is the 88 of Matt Crafton. He has an uncontrolled tire penalty. It was tight getting off pit road. Back green at Martinsville, stage 2 underway with Austin Hill and Kyle Busch side by side at the front. Austin Hill stayed out, did not come to pit lane, the only one not electing to come to pit road and get tires or gas or adjustments.
Yeah, he was the only one of our lead lap trucks that stayed on the racetrack. We had several waiver rounds, but Austin Hill was the only one that possibly will make this a one-stop race. And remember, we heard Scott Zipadelli and Austin Hill talking about that.
And I like the speed of the 16 truck on this restart. He's able to hang right in there in second position. If you start free falling, we saw how that worked out for Creed. Just keep bouncing to the back. He's able to hold his own now.
Great view from the front bumper of Brett Moffitt in that 24. That's Ben Rhodes just ahead of him there.
That's the first time this race that he's seen something other than the 88 of Matt Crafton out of that front bumper cam.
Here's a good look at Rhodes. Side by side with Harrison Burton.
Up inside the top 10. Felt good about the speed of this 99 truck after practice yesterday. You can see right behind him there. That's the 24 Works Chevy of our champion Brett Moffitt. Works new to the series this weekend, sponsoring Brett, if you're going to work on your yard, you need some works. That's what they're here for. It's that time of year.
Rhodes in that 99, of course, last year won the pole here in the spring, led the most laps, won stage 1, won stage 2, but then a bad pit stop cost him track position, and he ended up finishing 12th. Can't afford those miscues, and we'll see how the race unfolds today, whether or not Rhodes has a chance to maybe get his first Martinsville win. How about back in the back? Looks like Matt Crafton trying to maneuver traffic, Alan.
Yeah, and doing it kind of angry. His crew down here is angry. He had an uncontrolled tire penalty, NASCAR officials telling me, but the crew down here is disputing it. They'd like to see the video of it. They have questions, and they're just coming from the back right now. He had a lot of speed in that first segment, but a lot of work to do now.
Austin Terrio and Corey Roper also with uncontrolled tire penalties during that first stop, and the 20 truck of Spencer Boyd penalized for too many men over the wall.
Phil, it's hard to believe in a 250-lap race where some teams are only going to make one pit stop that you can overcome a pit road penalty. Crafton's faced with a severe uphill challenge, as is Johnny Sauter with those issues he had.
Harrison Burton in the 18, Hermie.
Well, right now, Vince, the 18 needs to get down behind the 24, not able to do it. The 2 of Sheldon Creed around the inside of the 18 as well. But prior to being hung up on the top side of the racetrack, the 18 was slowly, methodically making his way to the front. He started 18th. The truck has been too tight through the center, rolling the center, and has made it too loose on exit. Right there, he gets a break from his teammate Todd Gilliland to get back in line, so Harrison can start making his way back to the front. But worked on trying to get the truck to roll the center just a little bit better.
It's a big race for Harrison Burton. A lot of family here, and of course his dad Jeff Burton was a winner here at Martinsville. Uncle Ward Burton a winner as well here at Martinsville back in their racing days. Meanwhile, Ross Chastain starting to close the gap on Kyle Busch.
And how about that year that Nice Motorsports has had here? Ross is the only driver in the field in our series that has had top 10 finishes in the first 3 races. And this is by far the best effort this team has put forth here. And it's great, too, because their sponsor, TrüNorth, is also sponsoring the race here.
Talked to Ross before the race, and he had no idea how he was going to qualify, but he said, I guarantee I'll race well. And he has done that every week. You talked about he runs the Cup Series, he runs Xfinity, and he runs a truck. He's finished every race this year in all 3 series.
Listening to the radio between Ross Chastain and his crew chief, Phil Gould. He's telling him what his times are compared to Kyle's times, reminding him to stay nice and steady. You guys know from your experience what it's like to have that information, knowing what you need to do, not only to catch him, but also to get around him.
You know what I love? You've got a gap behind you. That means Ross is a smart racer. He knows exactly how to attack and when to attack. Right now, if he can just match lap times with Kyle lap for lap, then as the tires get hotter, see what he has in the longer run.
Myatt Snyder in that 27 truck in 12th. Johnny Sauter behind him there. Rafael Lessard, the rookie, in the 46.
See if Johnny can make the move on the outside. There's been a little bit of rubber put down on the outside. Johnny's going to hang up. Ooh, well, he was actually there. I don't think Lessard realized he was there, and he moved up here and squeezed Johnny out.
And that's a ticket for Johnny to pay him back. Johnny said, I had you, you cut me off. I'd say Johnny will get right into his back bumper.
Just like this situation right here, we saw when we first went to that shot, we saw Ben Rhodes, the 99, in the middle of the racetrack because it looked like he was throwing the block on Brett Moffitt, and that just doesn't feel real good here when you come to this racetrack and you get blocked.
How many times can you throw the block before you eventually get thrown?
Well, when you just cut someone off like Lessard did Johnny Sauter, you can only do that once. You might bump him a couple of times and get away with that, but when you cut somebody flat off like Lessard did, Johnny Sauter went down into the next corner and knocked him out of the way.
Take a look at it. Here's Lessard in the 46.
Here's Sauter in the 13.
Yeah.
And right there, Johnny feels like he's got him, but Lessard does.
I think Johnny was premeditated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's just going to hit him.
It was a lap before when it was the other way around when Johnny was trying to go on the outside. Here's Brett now. He does make it up inside of Ben Rhodes. Ben realizes the position is lost and let him jump in behind here in front of the 8 of Austin Dillon.
Kyle Busch continues to lead here at Martinsville. Stage 2 in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Racing today, boxing tomorrow. 2-division champ Lamont Peterson takes on former 140-pound champion Sergey Lipinets in a headliner 12-round welterweight showdown. It's tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, only on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Halfway through stage 2, Kyle Busch continues to lead, being chased by the 45, that white truck of Ross Chastain. Kyle running for the championship in the Monster Energy Cup Series. Chastain running for the championship in the Xfinity Series, and both of them making it exciting here in the trucks. And speaking of excitement, there's been more than Johnny Sauter would have liked today. Jamie?
But what he's liking right now is how he's being able to come back up through the field, all the way back up into 10th after making 2 pit stops. The good news for him is they did fix that engine issue he was having. It was the plug wire that had come loose, so it did come back in a lap later. He took on 4 fresh tires, and now he's making quick work of getting back to the front.
And his teammate Grant Enfinger had the same issue at Las Vegas a couple of weeks back.
But this truck is fast, Phil. I've been watching the lap times, and he's as good as our 2 leaders. Ross Chastain has been closing on Kyle Busch here as of late, and Johnny Sauter as good as both of them.
Good
The
battle
2
right there. Yeah.
Sheldon Creed and the 27 of Myatt Snider. Snider's had some great runs here at Martinsville. Really strong here last year in both races.
It's a battle for the 12th position right there.
Sheldon Creed's had his hands full today, hasn't he?
He has.
Every time he gets past, it seems like there's contact. He's being contested. Kept it straight mostly.
He has the 46 of Rafael Lessard on his tailgate right now.
Lessard had never even been in a truck until he got here to Martinsville this week.
I asked him what the biggest difference was, Vince, and the best I could tell with his French-Canadian accent, he said the weight and how hard it is to stop these trucks as they get down into the corner. He was so animated about how much fun he was having behind the wheel of one of these big trucks, but he said it just doesn't turn well when you get to the corner. And I guess that would describe a NASCAR vehicle, right? That's part of the challenge, the weight of them.
He really didn't have a lot of experience in a heavy vehicle whatsoever. The super late models are pretty light, but he did run an ARCA race earlier this year down in Florida and ran extremely well. So that was his first experience in a heavy car.
And a few years ago, he won the Cars Championship, and he let everyone know Kyle Larson was his favorite driver. Well, then Kyle Larson, the Cup driver, surprised him at the banquet with a video saying, hey, if you ever make it to a truck or Xfinity race and I'm there, make sure you come see me. I checked with Rafael Lessard just before this race. They haven't met up yet, but Kyle Larson, if you're watching, come see this young driver.
Yeah, pretty cool day for Rafael Lessard. Opportunity to run his first truck race, maybe meet one of his racing heroes, and a good battle for 5th as Ben Rhodes tries to get past Austin Hill.
Wow.
Boy, Hill has that.
Keep digging inside.
Finally got him moved.
To 8, clear by 3, out back to the 18 quarter, bumper.
That was Martinsville right there, wasn't it? Ben Rhodes got there.
A little bit of a gap in front of that 16 of Austin Hill.
And Austin Hill said, I'm going to try to squeeze you off, and it's not going to happen this turn, said Ben Rhodes.
Johnny Sauter continuing to move forward, making the move on Harrison Burton.
Vince, we're in that window now. If the caution flag were to come out, we're just about 27 laps away from the end of stage 2. If the caution were to come out now, these guys would be able to make it the rest of the way. That would open up that strategy possibility. Austin Hill maybe decide to come then because, again, he doesn't have to worry about stage points. He already has that win and make this one pit stop. But I think a lot of other guys would pit at the same time.
And Todd Gilliland and crew trying to recover from that bad pit stop. He's getting different advice depending on who he listens to. His spotter is telling him slow is fast, slow is fast, just be patient. But then his crew chief gets on the radio and says, don't mess around. It is time to go. I'm not sure who you listen to if you're a young driver, guys.
I tell you, I've heard that my whole life, Alan. I've been told by my crew chief, you got to slow down to go fast. I said, well, if that's the case, I'd be the fastest guy here because I'm pretty good at going slow. But sometimes you just got to get aggressive, and that's what you're seeing from Johnny Sauter. He knows with that problem he had with his engine and being on pit road for an extra stop, he's got to go, and he's not taking any time with these trucks he's racing against. He's just diving right in on them.
And I'm guaranteed he's getting some help from the other competitor spotters saying, hey, here comes that spinner right in front of those guys.
And this will be the caution that will mix up the strategy.
Wow. Oh, wow.
The 33 of Daniel Cessnet around and bringing out the caution in his Truck Series debut.
You know what I love, Vince and Phil? these crew chiefs already are thinking about what they're going to do if the caution flag comes out this lap, next lap, next lap. They're not surprised by the caution. They're not thinking, oh no, what do we do now? They just assume it's going to come out, and we'll see who plays what strategy.
We talked about it right in front of the battle we were watching, right in front of Austin Hill in the 16 truck. Look at Myatt Snyder squeeze through the middle.
Oh, into the curb. We talked about that treacherous curb down on the bottom. Sassnet with his first start dives onto that curb and around he goes. That's how quickly and how easily it can happen.
Well, perfectly timed for the fans, however, because this really mixes up the strategy plays and creates a little extra drama that we're going to see unfold really all the way to the end of this race.
I think we're going to see some of both right here. I think we're going to see some guys elect to pit now, try to make it from here on out, and we're going to see some guys try to run to the end of this stage to get those stage points. This is a perfect scenario.
You see the 21 to go. That's remaining in stage 2. Austin Hill was the only driver that elected to stay out at the end of stage 1, did not pit.
And that changes people's strategy too, Vince, when they saw how Hill was able to perform without pitting.
He held on to 6th, even though his truck was certainly slower, but was able to hold on and not lose too much track position.
There's our front 2 coming in. Guys really not racing for points. Stuart Friesen racing for the championship, stays on the racetrack.
Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain leading a line of trucks down pit road. Kyle has led more than 100 laps today. Chastain in the box, Jamie.
Well, the call to come was that he was going to follow Kyle Busch, just do whatever he did so that they have that advantage with them. The call was to take on 4 new tires, top it off with fuel. I think they should be good to the end, Hermie.
Well, Jamie, the last pit stop for the 51, they made a track bar adjustment. They raised the right side to try to get him to rotate the center a little bit better. Tire changer on the fronts having some issues. This time on pit road, 4 tires, fuel. They're going to try to help the 51 with front turn with air pressure.
Yeah, a little bit slow on the front, but Kyle still able to get out before Ross Chastain.
Brett Moffitt, another one of the trucks that stayed out on the racetrack.
There's Austin Hill, his first pit stop of the day. He comes off pit road 3rd of the guys that did elect to come to pit road.
So Friesen stayed out along with Brett Moffitt.
I think that's all the takers on the strategy there, Phil. Yep. Couple of trucks. I like what I'm seeing here because they're going to get fresher tires later. Maybe they can use those fresh tires to rocket through the field. We know Johnny Sauter was proven when he was stuck in the back. There's plenty of room to pass. He might have to get aggressive, but I like the play.
I asked Johnny, I said, when is too late to come in to put tires on? He said, I'd come in with 50 laps to go because I think they can make a difference. He said one time a few years ago when I won this race, he said, I restarted 21st and drove all the way to the front.
Watch the issue for Johnny Sauter, a little bit of a slow stop.
Probably the tire changer is going to have to make an adjustment.
The right rear.
Still a little bit slow on the tire change, then the tire carrier actually makes that adjustment.
Just not choreographed well. I don't know what the timing issue was, but you're right, Phil. Just some uncoordination there on that right rear.
But I like Friesen and Moffitt's decision, you know, head to head. Would they beat Kyle? I like the opportunity to try something different.
Let's do something different.
Yep.
They may elect after they get to the end of the stage, they may elect to come in with 50 laps to go like Johnny Sauter was talking about.
The free pass given to the 98 of Enfinger. Hermie on the 52 of Friesen in their decision.
Yeah, the plan is for Trip Bruce, they want to try to maximize stage points here and want to have the best possible tires on the 52 towards the end of the race. They think that gives them the best shot for the win.
Well, 18 more laps until the end of stage 2, so it's Friesen on the outside and Brett Moffitt, last year's champ, on the inside.
GMS teammates on the front row. Was there a little bit of a agreement here on what happens when they get down to turn 1? Look at Ross Chastain.
Ross didn't want to hear anything about an agreement, did he? He said, I'll take you 3 wide if y'all try to jack around. Friesen with a nice run off. Moffitt holding the bottom.
That's Rhodes on the outside behind Chastain, losing a little bit of position. And Ross Chastain going to slip into the second spot, but Moffitt is right there on the inside trying to defend.
He has those fresher tires. He can make that outside work for a few laps, especially with those fresher tires, guys.
And Kyle Busch is just looking for an opening. You see him down at the bottom of the racetrack behind Moffitt. Oh, they make contact.
And Chastain holds on, and Moffitt loses a couple of spots. Kyle Busch into third.
24 out.
Going to be a lot of damage to that right front corner of the 24 Moffitt.
So Moffitt goes from battling for second back into that 5th spot.
There you see Johnny Sauter, that slower pit stop. He's still up inside the top 10, racing hard in that 13 truck. I think maybe a guy that can run with Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain if he can get back up through there.
If he can ever get the track position to be up there with him, Michael, I agree with you.
Look like Austin Hill in the 16 and the 18 maybe banging doors a little bit as well. For the second time today, Kyle Busch had a good look at some contact right in front of him.
Yeah, I think that was inadvertent contact. I think Brett maybe just slipped up just slightly, got into the 45 of Chastain.
What about the speed of our man, Ben Rhodes?
Yeah.
We talked about him at the opening. I thought he'd have a good chance to win this race. He just did something no one's done all day long. Drove right past Kyle Busch.
Rhodes in third, and they're chasing Stuart Friesen and Ross Chastain. 1-2.
How about Stuart Friesen? He has 45 laps older tires right now than does Ross Chastain, and holding them off.
The 4 of Todd Gilliland looking out his front window.
Well, I think Trip Bruce had a lot of confidence about leaving Friesen out there after the performance of Austin Hill in the 16 truck when he didn't get tires and was able to remain in the top 10.
Chastain taking a look on the outside of Friesen.
I don't believe I'd be blocking too long if I was Friesen. There's a nice gap behind, as you see, throws the block again. There's a nice gap behind Ross Chastain. Friesen could just let Ross go here, and it would benefit him in the long run.
Yeah, they're counting those laps down to the end of that stage. He wants to get that playoff point. He wants to get those 10 stage points, but he could lose a whole lot more here.
And Chastain moves him.
Half back 99, 1 back.
And Chastain to the lead. Friesen second. Got to be careful not to fall into the clutches of Rhodes.
Remember, just about every truck behind him has fresh tires from that last caution flag.
Ross Chastain to the front for the first time today. Eight laps remaining here in stage 2.
That's the 54 of David Gilliland, moved to the inside of the 8 of Austin Dillon.
It's for 14th.
There's Tyler Ankrum, the 17 truck, trying to get to the inside of Austin Dillon. That is a teammate to the 54 of David Gilliland.
Rhodes now heating up Friesen for second.
This is an impressive run by Ben Rhodes. Last year, Vince, he got one first stage, one second stage, but had a bad pit stop, got mired back in traffic and couldn't move forward. Today, he started back in the 16th position, and he's able to drive to the front.
I think
Kyle Busch in 4th right behind him.
Remember, Stuart Friesen was 3rd when the caution came out, elected to stay on pit road. I think now, as he's going to lose another spot or two potentially, as he slides back up into the 2nd spot. If he falls back any worse than 3rd, then it didn't work.
Rhodes again back underneath.
I think Ben's gotten a little bit loose. I saw him sideways underneath Friesen. That back end's wanting to hang out, and it's hard to squeeze you down to the bottom and make good progress down there, but he's doing a nice job.
Rhodes and Friesen side by side. Kyle Busch right behind him in the 51, and then behind Kyle is the 24, Brett Moffitt.
Stewart is really doing a great job holding off Ben Rhodes with these older tires.
Rhodes has got to be careful, though. I think that truck's gotten very loose in a hurry. He was so fast on the initial restart. He drove past Kyle Busch, and sometimes when you're that fast on new tires, the thing will start sliding with you as the tires heat up.
3 laps left here in stage 2. Ross Chastain has opened it up a little bit, a second lead over Friesen. Jamie?
Well, after the celebration ended on the pit card after that pass, he was told, Ross Chastain was, to enjoy the view, go run away from him. But he said, maintain your equipment and hold on to your rhythm.
Pits are closed here with 2 to go.
What a great battle between these 3 trucks for the 2nd spot.
Rhodes just inside, but unable to secure the position, and Friesen defending, but he can't secure it either.
Oh, they make contact.
A little bit of contact, yes. And that's going to make the decisive move, and Friesen is going to get around him. Friesen trying to, Rhodes getting around him. Friesen fights right back.
He just wants to stay in front of the 51 of Kyle Busch for that point.
And it's Ross Chastain for the first time winning a stage in the Truck Series.
What a year and a half or so it's been for Ross Chastain. He's put his skills out there so I can run with anybody.
The Gander Outdoors Truck Series at Martinsville, Ross Chastain.
My job. Sorry it took this long to get us one out. Enjoy this, buddy.
Yeah,
He's fast.
Yeah.
Through two stages, Stuart Friesen has earned the most points. Brett Moffitt the third most, and those are the two that stayed out last time everybody pitted. So if you're Stuart Friesen and Moffitt, do you come to pit road now, or do you wait and hope for a caution later?
Michael and I were talking about that during the commercial break. I think I like to come to pit road now. Gives me an option of coming again later. We have two sets of tires left in the pits, Michael, and obviously Stuart Friesen cannot keep pace with those guys up front on those fresher tires.
But I like Moffitt maybe staying out. He'll probably pit. That might be a safe call, but I like him staying out because he had so much speed there. He was able to keep right up with the competition. Here's the green flag on the back straightaway. Do they come? Yes is the answer, both of them.
This is the last guaranteed opportunity to stop. If it goes green the rest of the way,
there's not much chance of that, man.
I can't imagine. No, not here, but you never know. When Brett Moffitt hits his box, Jamie Howe will be there. Austin Hill, that third truck in line behind Friesen and Moffitt.
Brett Moffitt and crew chief Jerry Baxter made the decision just for the reason you guys were talking about. Brett knows that he can get out there and he can fight. Once he's got that fresh rubber on, he knows that he can do the lap time. He needs a little bit of adjustment though. Track bar down 1, 4 tires, and the pit stop will be done, Hermie.
The 52 of Stuart Friesen is just too loose for him to hustle the truck. So they came in, put 4 tires, fuel, lowered the track bar on the right side. Now they want him to be patient and pass drivers back through the pack, 1 truck at a time for the 52.
And you know that the drivers, a lot of times, they love the ability to be aggressive. They can go on the offense and grab that spots. And a guy that's been aggressive today is our buddy Ross Chastain. Ross, it's Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, Vince up in the Fox booth. Do you copy?
Yes, sir.
Hot darn, that was fun to watch. You were hustling that baby. Great run. Congratulations on your first stage win in a truck.
Yes, sir. Good times here at Nice Motorsports. I'm just glad they gave me the privilege to drive this hot rod.
Well, it's True North straight down the back straightaway, and that's where you made your move. So that's good for your sponsor too, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Mikey, you got away with words. I got to tell you. I heard I'll be on your podcast on Monday night, so I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
I can't wait. Have fun the rest of the way and see what you can do with old Kyle Busch.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's pretty good at this stuff, so we'll give him an old honest try.
Looking forward to the finish. Stage 3 when we return. Two stages down, 1 to go at the Paperclip, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Xfinity fastest pit stops. Rafael Lazard, fuel only. Sheldon Creed, in fact, took fuel only as well. The final stage, and we're gonna crank it up. The McDonald's crank it up at Martinsville.
Quarter, bumper, clear. Protect the bottom, getting in.
low run. Back looking low. Inside. Inside.
For the lead, Ross Chastain trying to protect it. Ben Rhodes trying to take it.
Man, we've seen some good racing up front, haven't we? These guys just bumping and grinding and trying to grab everything they can.
See Ross giving Ben Rhodes enough room down there.
But then as soon as he had him cleared, went right back to the bottom. That'll hurt Ross's momentum a bit, angling in like that, but he's able to hold on.
Kyle Busch patiently sitting back there in third in the 51 truck.
Just under 100 laps remaining, but they go by quick here on the half mile. Chastain won stage 2. Kyle Busch won stage 1. Ben Rhodes won stage 1 and 2 when we were here last spring. And oh, Moffitt into the back end of Enfinger, moving him out of the way.
Inside. Clear, clear.
Is there going to be payback when they get down to this end?
Yes.
Clear, all clear. Coming around.
This is not going to end well, I don't think.
Yes, it is for Brett. On around.
Clear.
Moffitt makes the pass back for 15th. Todd Gilliland in the 4, Matt Crafton in the 88. That's for 7th. Austin Dillon right behind him.
And how about those fresh tires for the 52 of Stuart Friesen right there, back up into the top 10 already.
Gilliland gets the position from Crafton.
Crafton says, y'all got to leave my bumper alone. He's got that left rear fender all buckled up.
I think that happened about the lap 1.
Yeah, you're right. And there's those tires you spoke of. A nice, strong run down into the corner for Friesen.
Stuart Friesen still looking for his first ever Truck Series victory. Started today on the pole. He's led 19 laps.
Can't believe we're still saying that, Vince. He's been so close. Had a couple of races won, if not for issues really late.
Did you see that launch off the corner, though, for Stuart Friesen with those fresh tires off of turn 2 that last time?
Chastain leads. Ben Rhodes second, Hermie.
Yeah, Vince, you guys mentioned that Ben Rhodes at this race last year qualified on the pole and won the first 2 stages, but he is still learning today how to get around this racetrack. The biggest thing he learned earlier today when he was in traffic, and Michael, you and Phil both can think back to your driving days at this racetrack. He said, I started to be a little bit more patient, letting the truck roll through the center of the corner and waiting 1 extra split second to pick the throttle up to drive straight off the corner. He learned that earlier today in the race, really paying dividends late in the going.
You know, Hermie, it's interesting you bring that up. Jeff Gordon was up here, and he's been one of the best drivers ever at Martinsville with all the wins. And he said the key to a fast lap at Martinsville is to roll quickly through the center and all the way around the turn and wait till you get on that gas. Jeff pointed that out, and it's interesting. Ben Rhodes has learned the same thing racing today.
Instead of the halfway point of the corner, Jeff said maybe closer to the 5/8 part of the corner.
You're still letting it roll.
Still letting it roll, and you're actually already turning and going the other direction, but still free rolling.
It's rolling pretty well for that 13 of Johnny Sauter, that's for sure. They got that plug wire issue taken care of, and Sauter back on the charge past Harrison Burton for 4th. Myatt Snyder just outside the top 5, running 6th. How about Sauter, Jamie?
Well, it's gotten a little bit worse for Johnny Sauter. He's having some brake issues right now. He's telling the team, I sure wish this pedal would come back. He said, I can't believe it. It's just one of those days.
And that could be a result, Vince, of being stuck back in traffic all day long, having to really get hard on the brakes on entry, making those dives underneath other trucks. Now he's got a little bit of track position. He doesn't have much directly ahead of him. Maybe he can chill out a little bit and get those brakes to cool off.
Just ride a little bit, maybe see if he can lower that temperature of that brake fluid.
Harrison Burton, the 18-year-old in that 18 truck, a high school senior. Finished 8th in both races here at Martinsville a year ago. Another one of those young drivers knocking on the door of their first career truck win.
Myatt Snyder really strong here last fall, had a great run.
Yeah, you mentioned that Michael had a top 5 finish last fall. No surprise to see him running well. Remember, this truck doesn't run full time. That's a 5th truck out of Thor Sports stable.
Kyle Busch running 3rd.
If all these motors are supposed to be so equal, do I get yanked off the corner so bad? I knew they messed with my terrible off the corner. Horrible. Everywhere where I was feeling it yesterday, getting worse. Because we're off the worst.
I think Kyle's commenting about the way the motor's tuned. He said it's not coming up off the corner like he thinks it should. When you get back in traffic, it does change things. Even for an experienced veteran like Kyle Busch, the truck just doesn't seem to stick as well, and therefore you can't get it off the corner as well. But he's frustrated about what's under the hood, not what the tires are doing.
Kyle has led the most laps today, but right now he sits 3rd. Man, it has been close quarters racing, just the way you'd expect it to be at Martinsville.
And Moffitt just moved Crafton out of the way. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Hey, next Saturday, the season's biggest free agents hit the field with their new teams. First, it's Bryce Harper and the Phillies taking on Freddie Freeman and the Braves. Then the Giants face off against Manny Machado and the Padres. It all starts 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Kyle Busch has gotten 2nd place and has put the pressure on Ross Chastain for the lead with 73 to go at Martinsville.
You think maybe he saw that 13 truck of Johnny Sauter coming in his mirror and said, I may better try to put a little space between me and Johnny Sauter?
Yeah, because Sauter has now run up on the back of Ben Rhodes and Kyle on the back of Ross. Look at that traffic they got to fight through. It'll be interesting to see who goes high, who goes low. Brennan Poole opens up the bottom lane. That's what you hope if you're leading the race.
That's Corbin Forrester up ahead of them in the silver number 7. Ross Chastain's dad keeping a close eye on the competition.
He's turning a bunch, right? He's making he's so far about 178 circles on top of that hauler.
He'll be getting dizzy here before long.
Kyle taking a look on the outside of Chastain.
Ross left just enough room for Kyle to hang in there, but where do they go when they get to the turn in the traffic?
Who's going to have the advantage on the row in front of them? I think Ross feels like maybe Corbin Forster in the 7 is going to have the advantage.
Forster in the 7, the 0-4, and that red truck is Corey Roper.
That's fun to watch. Look at these guys.
Chastain still trying to hold off Kyle Busch for the lead.
Man, and Kyle's just got such a fast truck right now. His old tires, long run speed is eating them up. How hard is it for him to be patient knowing he's that much better, but all that traffic involved?
Yeah, I think we've got 68 laps to go here. I think Kyle wants that lead right now.
Good job, man. Back into your rhythm now.
Spotters wanting the drivers to, they're over the traffic. They got free racetrack, clear racetrack ahead of them, get back into a rhythm.
And how about Ross Chastain here, leading this race? He's led about 50 laps, and he has a guy that's won 200 NASCAR races breathing down his neck.
Chastain has never won a Truck Series race. Kyle has won 53, the winningest driver in Truck Series history.
But I think everybody in that garage area knows that Ross Chastain is the real deal.
He sure proved it last year in that Xfinity Series, didn't he?
And he's proved it this year, hopping in multiple race cars and getting them great finishes.
Rocky Ryan, the spotter for Chastain. That's the voice you hear, telling Chastain that Kyle is on the inside.
I was talking to Ross, and he loves running all these series as he continues to battle with Kyle. He said, I love running Jay Robinson Premium Motorsports Cup car. He's finally going to lose that lead to Kyle Busch.
But
Kyle Busch back in front.
You know what Ross and that team has learned? They've got a better short run truck than Kyle Busch. That means their strategy would be, if there's a chance, get more tires and see if they can hang on.
64 laps remaining and a good battle here. Brett Moffitt in 7th and Harrison Burton just ahead of him.
Oh, is that Johnny Sauter?
Sauter
it is
up
Johnny
out of the
Sauter.
groove. In turn
Left
2.
rear tires down.
And that's going to bring out the caution.
Still green.
So far, we're still green.
A lot of debris on the racetrack.
Still some coming. Come on the pit road.
Wow.
He was running 4th, and he didn't get below the commitment line there.
Boy,
that'll be a commitment line violation for Johnny.
Yeah, that tire was coming apart. I thought for sure they would have put the caution out, but it has stayed green, and with 63 to go, Sauter has to come to pit road, and that'll put him into his chances today.
Yeah, the debris may have been, oh, there's that caution.
And there is the caution, as we've got another one that has gone around, and that's the 33 of Stasnet again. Jamie on Sauter.
They're going to go ahead and do 2 left side tires, but they're having a hard time right now getting it up so that they can put those tires on, losing some time here after all the work that Johnny's done out there on the racetrack.
Well, it's been a tough day for Johnny Sauter. He's had some memorable ones here at Martinsville, a 4-time winner, but this is one that he'd rather just put in the rearview mirror.
We'll see how many laps Johnny will end up losing. Hopefully it was just going to be the 1 lap.
I think so. He was running so close to the leaders field, and he got to pit road. He will serve that penalty now, but he'll also probably come back and get right side tires. But the team made a smart decision there. Get those lefts, get him back on the road.
We saw Sasnet getting it turned around. Second time he has spun today, making his Truck Series debut. Sauter back out and rolling, but as noted, a lap down.
Now we're seeing some differing strategy again.
How does this open the door from a strategy perspective, guys?
I think this is going to be the final time to come to pit road. You see, Todd Gilliland thought about it. His teammate Harrison Burton did come to pit road. There he is right there in the Safe Light truck.
Austin Dillon in his pit box as well. Enfinger has come.
We could see a penalty possibly for Gilliland. He ran over that box. He decided to go back out on the track. Be interested to see what the call is there. Takes all 4 tires to be committed to pit road, and I don't think all 4 were under it.
So with 60 to go, Harrison Burton getting a chassis adjustment. 4 tires. Kyle Busch continues to lead, and we'll restart him when we come back. Racing at Martinsville in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series.
What's that? Tail end, Russell? Commitment line.
Picture perfect day at Martinsville. You know why they call it the paperclip. Doesn't hardly look like there's enough room to go race in there.
Certainly not for a group of haulers to be in the middle there, and as well as the garage area.
What a great facility, and love coming here a couple of times a year and watching the racing, regardless of whether it's the trucks or the cup cars. Of course, a great run expected tomorrow in the Monster Energy Cup Series, and it's been a pretty good one for that 27 today, Alan.
It really is. He started 15th up to 4th place, and on that last run had one of the fastest trucks on the track. And his biggest problem for Myatt Snyder was anytime he would approach a truck, he says, he would get tight. It would make it hard to pass despite being so fast. But he just came over the radio and said, I figured out how to remedy this truck. Keep an eye on this 27, Hermie.
Well, Alan, a lot of dialogue on the radio between Kyle Busch and his crew chief, Rudy Fugle, about whether or not to come down pit road. They were trying to size up their truck versus the 45 of Chastain and the 99 of Ben Rhodes. You see a shot of Rudy Fugle. Kyle thought he was pretty good against those two with what he's got, or maybe what he may have left in the tank. And then Rudy told him the two trucks in the pack that have fresher tires, the 24 of Moffitt and the 52 of Friesen. So they got given Kyle a pretty good picture of what he's got and what may be coming to face him prior to the end of this race.
Rudy Fugle is a crew chief's won 23 times. He's won multiple championships, but he's never won at Martinsville, and that's one that he wants to check off the list with a victory today. Of course, the Monster Energy Cup guys will line them up and go racing tomorrow, 12:30 with race day, 12:30 Eastern. Race begins at 2 o'clock Eastern. Still have to qualify yet this afternoon.
Yeah.
In fact, they'll qualify after our race today. You'll see that over on FS1.
This has been a fun almost 200 laps here. We're going to do 500 tomorrow.
Brett Moffitt, top 5. Jamie?
Before he made that last stop, he told Jerry Baxter, his crew chief, that he was just too loose. Now he has no complaints. He says, I'm as good as all those guys out there. He's 5th right now. I'd watch for him to make him move up.
That says Martinsville, doesn't it, right there? That speaks it loud and clear.
He's used that front nose of that Works truck.
And you can see also on the Works truck, that right front tires has the letters all rubbed off of it, but he's setting in a great position with those fresher tires. He's been a fast truck all day, Phil. Just the strategy has gotten him off pace with the leaders. I'm going to be watching very closely number 24.
I think some of that front end damage, if you looked at the back of the 88, they would match up perfectly. So we'll keep an eye on the 24 and 88 should they get close to one another again.
About 20 laps fresher tires on that 24 truck of Moffitt, as well as the 52 of Friesen over Kyle and Ross and Ben Rhodes and Myatt Snyder.
Vince, you did an excellent job in the opening talking about the ambience of Martinsville, and that truck just says, this is Martinsville. These guys are ready to do battle, and there's the reason why that Brett's truck looks like that. And I heard on the radio some chatter that the 88 of Matt Crafton says if I can get back to number 24, he's going to get it.
We saw him give him a good shot there when Brett was working his way up through the field, and they're pretty close together here. They're only separated by 1 row.
Nothing will inspire you to go faster than some guy that's after you, all right?
Getting ready for this restart. When they take the green, there will be 52 to go. Kyle Busch on the inside, Ross Chastain on the outside. Those two have led the most laps today, and they're going to try to settle it right here.
A great start by Ross. See if he can hold his own on the outside here.
Inside, 99 bumper, quarter.
Ross was not going to push the issue and try to squeeze the 99 out. Look at Matt Crafton out 3 wide.
Like Matt's mad at someone else now into the back of Austin Hill.
It is go time here at Martinsville. Cannot mess around. It'll be all take and no give.
Outside.
Watch Gilliland in that 4 truck. Maybe a little contact with the 88 of Crafton that pushes Matt up the track. Yes.
Well, the 4 of Gilliland and the 16 of Austin Hill made a little contact. That's probably why the 4 had to go a little bit wider.
Inside the top 5, Moffitt and Snyder. Snyder in that white Ford.
He's doing
running
a great
fourth.
job on that outside.
This is not going to work out all that well.
Close the door on Brett. Brett says, not so quickly, young man.
Moves him out, and Friesen will take that position as well.
Mine's pretty fortunate he only lost 2 spots there.
This is what happens at Martinsville. All that give and take, it's gone. We're just going to take. Got to be aggressive. There's too little laps to go to let somebody have a spot.
You talked about that, Michael, at the top of the show, that all the give goes out the window for sure. Plenty of taking going on.
That's exactly right. Harrison Burton looking on the inside of Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, Bubba has crept back inside the top 10, running 9th.
That's just persistence. They didn't have a very good truck at the start of this race. Couple of adjustments and some great driving. Bubba's right in this thing.
Sheldon Creed getting inside there. Nice move on Tyler Ankrum.
Yeah, Bubba, I think, had to take the wave around today, or the free pass one, to get back on the lead lap.
Austin Dillon there in the 8.
That's Reed Wilson back there in the 44 black truck. He is currently in the free pass position, so he's racing hard to try to see if a caution comes out, get back in this thing. He's gotten better and better all day long.
Yeah, and the 11 of Spencer Davis, the second truck 1 lap down, is right behind him.
Here's the gap. Kyle Busch, the leader, back to the second place truck of Ross Chastain. Jamie?
Well, while Kyle has a good lead, Ross Chastain does not. His spotter telling him you've got to protect the bottom. You've got to get down there when you can and protect it. That's what Ross is trying to do.
Easier said than done. Ben Rhodes, who's had a good truck all day today as well, beating on the back bumper.
Jamie, you can tell the spotter that from what I'm seeing up here, if you try to protect the bottom, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get hit. That's the chance you take. If you block, that means you open yourself up to be punted.
Just outside of 40 laps to go, too, because these laps go by so fast here. Ben Rhodes does not want to give any more laps up here. He wants to try to make this pass on Ross Chastain because he has a very fast Chevrolet of Brett Moffitt right behind him.
And if you have any hope, if you're Ben Rhodes, if you have any hope of catching Kyle Busch, you can't spend any time behind Ross Chastain any more than what you've spent already, because you're going to need every bit of that time to catch up to Kyle.
There he is, got to the inside. Now can he make a good run off? I like the angle. Good run off turn 4.
Go, man. Easy in here. Perfect.
Ross doing a nice job giving him room.
And goes the 45 here, 1 back to the 24.
And you can see how Ross is able to take advantage of that high-speed exit on the top, getting a good run off with some momentum. Maybe got his gas down a little bit sooner than the inside truck of Ben Rhodes.
That voice you were hearing, the spotter for Ben Rhodes, TJ Majors, a little bit of contact there, moved Chastain out, and Moffitt says, I'll take that spot, or try to, and does.
We worked him over, couldn't get him, hit him. Knocked him out of the way and up into the second spot.
Caution is out over in turn 2. It's Corey Roper.
Ben Rhodes made that pass just in time. Now he gets to start on the front row. I don't really see it being that big of a disadvantage to being on the outside of that front row. We've seen that lead being contested really heavily by the outside guy.
And by the time you possibly would lose that battle for the lead, there's usually a little bit of a gap back to that third place running truck.
But now the guy with the freshest tires in the top 10
is going to be that third place running truck of Brett Moffitt.
It's going to be all over the back of Kyle Busch.
Johnny Sauter will get the free pass and back onto the lead lap.
There's
back
a good
in the
look
19th spot.
Tightening those belts up one more time here for these last inside of 40 laps to go.
There's a look at Sauter's truck. It's been an eventful day today for Johnny Sauter. Kyle Busch and Ben Rhodes, Brett Moffitt, and Phil, you made the comment Moffitt's got the fresher tires. He pitted 25 laps after Busch and Rhodes.
And then down in the 10th position, Harrison Burton, he has the freshest tires in the top 10. He's got just 20 laps or so on his tires, and he'll be in that Safe Flight truck. He'll be on the move as well because of those fresher tires.
Yeah, he has 70 less laps on his tires than does our leader, Kyle Busch, as well as Ben Rhodes in second.
Kyle's had a couple of near misses today. It's a lot of action right out in front of him.
Starts it.
Yeah,
Spencer Davis sideways, makes contact there, opens the door for Kyle though. And then watch this.
That was Moffitt and Chastain getting contact and Kyle getting through, and then whoops, let me avoid that.
Not happy with his truck overall, too. We've heard some reports from his onboard radio saying that he doesn't feel like it's performing like he expected it to, but I think he's got his hands full with the 99 of Ben Rhodes. I love this truck today.
Struggling bad underneath people to get into the corner. Every time I try to even maintain my position on the bottom on entry, I slide up the track into them. Pretty well like impossible for me to try to make passes on the bottom just with my freeness on entry.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious how loose that truck gets down on the bottom, and that's why it was up into the side of Ross Chastain. He got loose down there.
It's going to be critical for him on this start, on this restart, to try to get in between the 51 of Kyle Busch if he's not able to get the advantage on Kyle, and that would be extremely difficult to do. But if he lets that 24 Brett Moffitt get inside him, then that's going to be a problem, I think.
And when Ben looks in his rearview mirror and sees the nose of that 24 truck, he might think that Brett's a little aggressive today, maybe wondering what the back end of his truck's going to look like after this.
Kyle Busch in that 51 truck. He'll be back at Texas in the trucks. He's allowed to run 5 times in the truck series, and race number 4 for Kyle will come in the Lone Star State. Be at Texas Motor Speedway next Friday night.
There may be some beating and banging at Texas, but it's going to be at a whole lot faster speeds than we see here.
And we've seen it there before, evident by that video of a terrible flip down the front straightaway.
Lining up for this restart. Kyle Busch on the inside, Ben Rhodes, a 2-time winner in the truck series, on the outside. Brett Moffitt and Ross Chastain in row 2.
You see all these trucks swerving. They're just trying to clean these tires off. When these tires are hot and they start cooling off, they pick up all the rubber that's on the racetrack. They try to get that cleaned off.
You call it the half mile of mayhem, and let the mayhem begin.
Look at Stuart Friesen trying to get to the inside of Ross Chastain, not able to do it.
Oh, look at Ben Rhodes close the door on Moffitt, and that takes Moffitt up the track.
Clear, all clear, all clear.
Rhodes gets
That's
second.
24 twice.
Didn't really see the 24 do anything wrong there. Just battling hard here late in this race.
Moffitt and Chastain for 3rd.
That opened the door for Myatt Snyder to get back by Stuart Friesen.
Trying to sort themselves out after the restart, and with so few laps remaining, you have got to get it while you can. Harrison Burton trying to make a move on his teammate Todd Gilliland.
That's those fresher tires we talked about, Vince. Matt Crafton taking a shot in the back from Gilliland there.
Austin Hill getting by Sheldon Creed. How about 3 wide going in the corner?
Not going to work. Nope. Oh, yes, they somehow end up getting through.
It wasn't pretty, Vince, but they did survive. I'm not sure. I didn't know the 3 of us were going to make it through that corner up here in the booth.
Look at Moffitt. He's able to hold off Myatt Snyder charging hard on the bottom, and that's going to open the door for Stuart Friesen to slide in there.
Wow.
Wow is right.
Friesen and Snyder for 5th.
I don't think we're done seeing cautions. I don't see how these guys can race for 30 laps with this type of attitude. They're all over each other.
30 laps remaining. We're going to take a break, but you won't miss a thing. Going to keep on trucking from the paperclip. Less than 25 to go at Martinsville. Ben Rhodes in that 99 truck trying to chase down Kyle Busch for the lead.
Talked about that truck was loose, Vince. Loose is fast, right? Especially as the tires get hotter, the truck will continue to rotate through the corner, and he's doing a great job.
The tires aren't the only thing getting hot. I think the tempers are getting a bit warm as well. Infinger trying to work on his teammate Matt Crafton, that 98 and 88.
That's a battle for the 8th position inside the top 10. There's Austin Hill, the 16 truck, right behind Infinger.
Johnny Sauter on the move. Wow, Sauter 14th, and he may have one of the best trucks all day today, but he's just had problem after problem. It's keep putting him in the back.
What about David Gilliland in that 54 truck trying to race his way up inside the top 10? And this is a battle I've got my eye on.
Gander Outdoors, 20 to go at Martinsville.
Yeah, Kyle Busch will catch some traffic here before too much longer. That may give Ben Rhodes an opportunity to close that gap.
Harrison Burton and Bubba Wallace. Wallace in that 22. Burton side by side for position. 14th and 15th as they battle. Austin Dillon right behind in that 8 truck running for the Nemecheks this weekend.
What a good run off the corner that time for Bubba Wallace from the high side.
And what's he get for it? A little bump in the rear end. Knocked him up the hill a bit, opened the door. I like when they're able to hold their own up on that high side. Makes for some great racing.
I think we've seen the outside come in better this race, Michael, than we've seen in a while.
Tip your hat to Goodyear for bringing tires that lay that rubber down so these guys have options when they get to the corner. An option other than just running into a guy. You might be able to.
Well, that's an option too.
You might just even be able to pass him.
Continuing the side-by-side battle, and Wallace, can he get that spot from Burton? Just not quite.
What about Lassard up on the high side in that 46 truck, trying to race for a top 15 position?
They have a whole group of trucks behind them all seized up.
Rafael Lassard in that 46, 17 years old from Canada, making his Truck Series debut, just wanting to run all the laps, and right there he is. So far, so good on the lead lap.
Side by side, you can see him really creeping up the top side. Just so much action all around this racetrack.
Johnny Sauter moving in on David Gilliland for 11th.
I would tell Gilliland, if I'm his spotter, the guy behind you will hit you when he gets there. He doesn't have time or patience to wait for you. And Gilliland knows that, and you can see he just moves out of the way. Sauter's faster right now.
Yeah, just outside the top 10. That is a battle for the 11th spot. Johnny has it now. Derek Kraus doing a nice job right there inside the top 15, running 13th right now for Bill McAnally.
How impressive was he in his series debut a year ago out at ISM? Really a strong run, top 10 finish. And he's proven that he belongs in a truck. And it's great to see Bill McAnally back here in the series providing that equipment for that young man.
Yeah, this is the first of at least 4 races that they're going to run with that Ineos Toyota for Bill McAnally, as well as running the full West schedule and some East races also.
A couple of other good ones there. Tyler Ankrum in the 17 and Sheldon Creed in the 2. A lot of good young talent out here today.
A little door slam by Sheldon Creed into the side of the 17 of Ankrum.
Gilliland in the 54. David Gilliland, a little father-son racing, although haven't seen dad and son together at all today.
Todd's having a strong run up in the 6th position, you see there. And here comes lap traffic for our leader.
10 laps remaining, 10 to go at Martinsville.
Yeah, Ross has fallen a little bit over us. Ben Rhodes has fallen a little bit over a second behind Kyle Busch right now.
You can see a couple of lappers between them as well, so that's good news for Kyle Busch. He looks in his mirrors and doesn't see second place truck.
There's Reed Wilson, the TrüNorth Chevy, getting out of the way of Kyle.
Brennan Poole in the 30, giving Ben Rhodes plenty of room.
They're in the same straightaway.
And with so many of these lapped vehicles, when you come upon them, if one happens to move a direction you're not expecting it, that lead will shrink in a moment.
Well, we documented everything that's happened on the racetrack pretty
well.
Oh,
there's
right in
one
front
going
of Kyle.
around. It's the
middle of the track.
0-2 of Tyler Dipple will bring out the caution. Going to create a little fireworks to the finish.
I love it. It's going to make for some fun racing for a couple laps.
Sit up, snap it around, screw everybody.
Well, that's not the kind of attitude I want to hear. How about you?
So Dipple gets it straightened out, and that will set the stage for this restart. Rudy Fugel, the crew chief for Kyle Busch.
Remember that's about a second and a quarter lead he had?
Gone.
Gone, Vince.
Big hit into the back of the 0-2.
Got a little help.
It could have been the 11 of Spencer Davis. They were actually battling for the free pass position.
You going to pit, Phil?
No.
Heck no, right?
No. I mean, you're going to have to make me come in the pits after the race is over, much less come in now, Michael.
Well, what can Rhodes do? How is Ben Rhodes going to outdo Kyle Busch on this restart to win this race?
You just got to time it perfectly, Vince. If he can time it perfectly, get a good run down into turn 1, side by side with Kyle, and really lean on him.
Squeeze him over.
Squeeze him down to try to make Kyle make a mistake, maybe bounce off that curb and get sideways. He's got to be very aggressive if anything's going to happen, and it's going to start with timing the restart perfectly. And he's going up against Kyle Busch, who, as Ross Chastain said earlier, he's pretty good at this stuff.
And he's not bad at restarts, too. He's one of the best restarters we've ever had in our sport, I think.
Kyle has run 2 races this season in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series, and he's won them both. In fact, back-to-back. He's going for 3 in a row here today. Ben Rhodes has had some great runs here at Martinsville the last couple of years. Back in the spring, he led the most laps here, but had a bad pit stop late and ended up finishing 12th, and then last fall finished 4th. He's going to have another opportunity right here with this restart.
Maybe he's better off starting a little farther back in the field.
And then also remember, Brett Moffitt's going to line up right on Kyle Busch's tailgate, and he's got those fresher tires. He couldn't make it work on that last restart, but there was a lot of beating and banging. Maybe Brett gets a better start in this 24 Works truck, and he can do something with them.
Look at what Kyle Busch has done this season. 10 starts across the 3 series, 6 wins. Average finish for the 3 series, his average finish 1.89.
Look how many laps he's led. He's led over 1,000 laps already this year.
It has been impressive indeed. Of course, the all-time wins leader in both the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series. Trying to put another Gander Outdoors Truck Series trophy on the mantle.
3 to go to decide it. Here comes the competition, though. Pull right up on your back bumper. That's pretty intimidating. You know these guys aren't afraid of bumping and banging. We've seen it all day long.
I'm not sure we're done with caution flags yet. You mentioned it 40 laps ago, Michael. I'm not sure we're done yet, and we're going to restart with 3 to go.
So it'll be Kyle Busch on the inside, Ben Rhodes on the outside, and in the row right behind them, behind Kyle, is the 24 of Moffitt, last season's champ. And Ross Chastain on the outside will start behind Ben Rhodes.
Look at the grill on that 24 truck, Vince.
He hasn't been afraid to use it. Hasn't been afraid to use that front bumper today.
There it is.
When they take the green, there will be 3 laps remaining. Kyle Busch and Ben Rhodes out front. Who's going to win at Martinsville? Oh, great start for Kyle. Grabs the lead from Rhodes.
Now Rhodes is going to play a little defense here. Make sure he gets in front of Brett Moffitt.
Friesen trying to get a position from Chastain. Not going to happen. Chastain holding him off for the moment. Rhodes in second, trying to chase down Kyle Busch. The white flag waving, 1 to go, a half-mile left.
Todd Gillen bounced off the wall pretty hard coming off 4. He's losing a lot of ground.
Still green right now.
We've got one around in turn 4, and the caution is out.
Coming back, checkers.
And the checkers will wave for Kyle Busch under caution.
Yeah, the white flag had already been displayed, so the next flag ends it. That happened to be the caution.
Kyle Busch, for the 54th time in his career, the winner in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series.
You want to update those numbers we just saw, Vince? put him another one on there. What a
7 wins and 11 starts this season.
What an awesome performance.
Tomorrow he'll make his 1,000th NASCAR start, and he'll become just the 9th driver to make 1,000 starts. Michael, you're on that list. Well, Rudy Fugel's going to get him a grandfather clock finally, Hermie.
And the smile seems to be a little bit bigger this time, getting that grandfather clock. You guys won this race. Looked easy at times, but you guys worked on that truck all weekend to get it right.
Yeah, we never really had the handle on this thing the whole weekend. Yesterday was started bad and kept getting better, and at the end of practice, he really wasn't happy. We went in there and racked our brains and made a lot of changes, and we qualified better than I thought we were going to qualify, and then he had a really good job. He's great, so he helped us a ton, but these guys work really hard. Cessna, Toyota, TRD, so it's a lot of fun. It's finally gets a clock. It's fun.
These guys are going to victory lane.
Rudy Fugel and Kyle Busch, what a formidable combination. They've won 8 times together now. Phil, you mentioned the 4 of Todd Gilliland getting into the wall, and look at Gilliland there on the outside of Myatt Snyder.
Yeah, off for turn number 4.
Just ran out of room.
Yeah.
That's because Snyder took it all.
Yeah, he didn't give him a whole lot of room. But again, we're talking about a lap and a half to go here. Yeah, Todd did all he could do to keep that truck out of the wall.
Restarted to 6th position, I think, did Gilliland, and he wound up finishing down in 16th. So that was a rough restart for the young man.
Well, and that finish not indicative of the kind of day he had. Gilliland ran inside the top 10 almost all day long. It's a rowdy kind of day at Martinsville, winning here for the 2nd time.
The elevator yet? No, I'm getting psyched up for Cup qualifying. Oh yeah, I forgot. I thought I was done for the day. Oh no.
seen it ever.
First time that we've ever seen it ever.
I had to throw that extra ever in there because people weren't listening to me.
It's a familiar situation for Kyle Busch. He's in victory lane for the 201st time. Hermie Sadler is down there to greet the winner.
You coming to me? Kyle Busch, victory lane. At Martinsville. Well, let's see. That's number 54 for the series. That's a personal 3 in a row for you, and 202 for your career. 201. Well, maybe tomorrow will be 202. This racetrack, though, I was talking to Rudy, made it look easy at times, but you guys really thrashed on this truck all weekend long. What really made the difference, especially when you had to defend those guys on those late race restarts?
I mean, these guys worked really, really hard this weekend. We unloaded, and I didn't like where we were at. We made wholesale changes to this thing all weekend long and just tried to keep improving this Cessna Beechcraft Tundra and make it faster, you know. Certainly want to give thanks to TRD and Rowdy Manufacturing, all these guys. We just kept trying to make it turn to center better. I mean, that's where it's at Martinsville. You got to be able to turn to center without getting too loose in and too loose off. And you know, there during the race, a couple times when I was underneath some guys, I'd get loose. I saw other guys getting loose in the same kind of aspect. But you know, we were able to get by them and get through them and have enough tire there at the end to be able to hold them all off.
Now, I'm not sure what they do with the grandfather clock, but your crew chief sounded pretty excited on my interview with him that he'd like for that thing to go in his house somewhere. So who decides that?
I do. Yeah, this is his first win here at Martinsville. I've won here with 2 other crew chiefs, I think. So it's pretty cool to get Rudy his first win at Martinsville. And
does he get the clock or no?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
He can have the clock. But you know, I just want to give a quick thanks to Incredible Bank, Monster Energy, Adidas, DVX, Sunglasses, Black Clover, Gander Outdoors. Appreciate Gander and all those guys coming this year, being a part of this series, and of course the fans. It's awesome to have Rowdy Nation support. We keep digging every week, keep trying to work hard, and keep trying to get wins.
Alan?
Hermie, Ben Rhodes has a clean race truck. I don't think anyone's mad at you, and you're second. That's a good day at Martinsville.
Not that we've seen anyways. There might be somebody running over here soon, but it was a good day at Martinsville. This is the best finish I've had here yet, and I was surprised. Qualifying 16th, the truck came to life in the race. We had a fast Carolina F-150, but just needed a little something more. You know, we got beat by the best of the business. He knows what he's doing here, and it was fun following him and seeing how he was pacing himself. You know, that's something I struggled with in the past, and being around him, I kind of took a few notes, and I think I can apply it. But anytime you can restart next to that guy, I try to log in my memory bank so I can try to just get him next time. So we'll see. Overall, a good, happy day. We got some momentum going, and we'll go into the next race, see if we can beat him next time.
This is still a young race team, the 99 team. How do you explain the performance of you and your new crew chief, Matt Noyes?
You know, we're happy with it, but not really, right? Because we're racers. We want to win, and I think we're both disappointed on the inside, but we're happy as a team how everybody's worked together. We've come a long way on the road crew side. We've come a long way on pit crew side, and I've come a long way myself. And we're all, like you said, we're a young team. My crew chief's like 27. I'm 22. Engineers like 24. Like, everybody's super young. So we're learning. We're getting better. Just we're building a notebook together. You know, we're building a notebook and making setups as we go.
Congratulations. Jamie?
Well, Ben Rhodes might have a clean truck. It's a different story for Brett Moffitt in the number 24 machine, sometimes having to play offense, sometimes defense, but aggression, what level was out there?
It was high. It's Martinsville. It's always going to happen. End of the race. You got to go. And we had a really fast Works Chevy Silverado. We had a new partner on board with them. Really happy to give them a good finish. I felt like we had a truck we could have got them a victory lane, but just wasn't in our cards today. We got behind on track position and just had to fight all race to make it back up, which it just kind of used up the truck doing so. So we'll move on. Another top 5 finish for us, which is great. And just got to thank the Gallagher family for giving me this opportunity, and Jerry and all the guys on this 24 team for bringing me another fast race car. It makes it a lot of fun to drive.
No matter what, it was a good recovery.
4th, 2nd, and 3rd the last 3 races for Brett Moffitt. He is knocking on the door. Kyle has already busted through the door. He's done that 201 times. How about the average wins per year? Almost 13 per season for Kyle Busch across the 3 series.
Well, the good news for the Truck Series competitors, he can only run 2 more races this year.
Under yellow, but a victory just the same. Kyle Busch wins at Martinsville. What Toyota, 4 for 4 this season. Kyle Busch getting his 3rd consecutive victory in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series, and a congratulatory handshake from his former driver, Bubba Wallace. And Bubba with a solid day today, brought it home 10th.
I think Bubba knows how good it feels to be in victory lane with one of those clocks, and he wanted to congratulate Kyle for that accomplishment.
He's won a couple of times. Let's go downstairs to Hermie.
Well, Vince, Stuart Friesen didn't go to victory lane today, but you did start up front, led some laps early, but you mentioned a couple times during the course of the day, too loose right in the center of the corner. How frustrating is it to be on this type of a racetrack when you can't be as aggressive as you want to be at that point of the racetrack?
Yeah, it was tough. It was a handful there for a lot of it, and race against some really fast trucks. So Tripp and the guys did a good job getting me tightened up, and then I finally got smart enough to split my rear fans there at the end and pull some stagger out, so that helped. But we salvaged a day. Tripp loves racing for points. I hate racing for points, so we had to dig out a little bit of a hole there. But we made some points and come out of it with the top 5, and luckily finished. It got pretty wild there at the end, but we didn't have a truck quite fast enough to beat Kyle, but we saw the fast Helmar Silverado. So thanks to Chris Larson, everybody at Helmar. Thoughts are with Chris. His mother's in the hospital this weekend, so he couldn't make it here. So hope she gets well soon, and I'm going to go run the dirt car at Port Royal tomorrow, so that'll be fun too.
Jamie?
It was a strong performance all race long for Ross Chastain, finishing 4th. When you look at what you were able to achieve today, how happy are you with the result?
I'll be really happy in about an hour. Obviously, when you have a shot to win and you don't get it done, it stings. But I just got too tight for what I could do there, what I could get out of the race truck. So we can hang our hats high. Nice Motorsports is a big step forward, and for everybody at TrüNorth, and just trying to build this team. This is the best truck team I've ever driven for, by far, and I couldn't be more proud to be here and race as many times as I can with them this year.
Good sign of things to come.
Just a great day for Myatt Snyder. How much did your career need a day like this?
Well, I think we definitely proved what this team at ThorSport Racing can do. We were by far one of the best trucks all day. Just never had the track position to get up there. So it's really hard to pass here. So you get stuck behind people, and then people bump you out of the way. Like, I finally made my way up to about the top 5.
towards the end, and we were the fastest truck on track. So I knew that if I had just been able to get some traction and catch up to Kyle, then he would have actually had a real problem. So this Tax Slayer Ford F-150 was really awesome, and yeah, great day for our ThorSport team.
All right, looking good for a guy who just has a few rides this year.
Yeah, last season's Rookie of the Year in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series with another solid run and top 10 finish. Myatt finishing 6th today.
Myatt thought he had a shot at that clock.
Yeah,
Should he had something for Kyle Busch if he could have gotten there.
Well, it's almost overwhelming when you try to put into perspective what Kyle Busch has done in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. 19 different tracks. Not all of those wins have come with his own team at KBM. Yeah. He started out with Billy Ballou.
Sure has been pretty amazing, though, since he formed KBM, Kyle Busch Motorsports. Not only Kyle, but all his drivers.
And the opportunity he's offered a lot of young racers to hone their skills in the truck series and move on to the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series.
We talk about Bubba Wallace and William Byron and Christopher Bell over in the Xfinity Series. Eric Jones in the Monster Energy Cup Series.
Well, Kyle, the team owner, will be a little disappointed, though, I think, when he realizes that his other 3 drivers all finished outside the top 10, because not only is he the driver that certainly is happy with a win, but he's a team owner, and he wants his guys all finishing stronger than outside the top 10. And Todd Gilliland, Harrison Burton, and Rafael Lessard. Gilliland was 16th today, and he was inside the top 10. I mean, in all he was inside the top 10, got squeezed out.
Yeah, lap and a half to go.
With about a lap to go, and finishes up 16th.
Conversely, all 5 ThorSport trucks were in the top 10, all 5 of them.
Lessard 14th, and Harrison Burton was 12th. Downstairs to Jamie.
After starting 19th, Grant Enfinger was able to make his way up for a solid top 10 finish today. Grant, what was the biggest factor?
I guess perseverance, because we weren't very good. It was kind of a long day at Martinsville for us, but it went from lack of effort from Jeff Hensley and everybody on this ThorSport Ford. So just didn't have any speed that first set of tires. I don't know if I abused them too much or what, but once we got the second set of tires on, we had pretty good speed. Then we just never got the track position back. So able to fight back and finish 7th, and that's about as good as we're going to do today.
Don't you love it, though, when you have a guy like Enfinger got down outside the top 20, wasn't running well, and just persevered. Like he said, perseverance got him a top 5, top 7 finish. That's a great accomplishment when you're not having your best day.
Barely stayed on the lead lap at one point in this race.
And those are days that you might look back on later in the season and say, hey, we could have very easily finished outside the top 10 or 15 on that day at Martinsville, and we finished 7th and got all those points.
Yeah, and that could make a difference in the championship battle when we get down toward Miami at the end of the year.
Hey, Kyle Busch isn't done. I mean, after all the celebratory pictures, he's got to go get in the Cup car, and we've got Monster Energy Cup qualifying coming up here in just a few minutes over on FS1.
They have to get that grandfather clock off the front straightaway so they can qualify these cars.
That's a good-looking M&M's ride he has there. There's the man of the hour.
And Rudy's grandfather clock, apparently.
We'll be back at it next week at Texas Motor Speedway. Next Friday, qualifying at 5 o'clock Eastern. Race day at 8:30 and taking the green at 9 o'clock Eastern. Well, it's been a fun day. Thanks for being with us. Kyle Busch does it again, winning at Martinsville. Coming back after this.